Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra Unit 3.6 Notes, Day 1. Today we're going to be talking about applications of linear equations. Our learning target today is to be able to write slope-intercept equations in order to solve real-world problems. So let's go ahead and begin. We have some important vocabulary that's important for you to know as we're doing this. So each of these words, the y-intercept, the slope, ordered pair, units for x, units for y, they're all hidden. And they're just not going to straight out tell us, hey, the y-intercept of the problem is $50. No, okay? It's going to be hidden within the word, and you have to take the context of the questions to figure it out. So let's go through these. When they're talking about the y-intercept, you're always looking for starting amounts, okay? If they tell you, hey, they already have something, this is what they have, or maybe there is a flat fee associated with what you're buying, those are things that tell you that that's your y-intercept, that's your starting amount, okay? Next, words for slope. Words for slope include the word per, of, each, or every. Now, when you see an ordered pair, ordered pairs are two numbers in the same sentence. Okay? Units for x. Now, the main unit for x that we're going to be talking about is time. Okay? And when we're talking about time, that could be hours, it could be minutes, it could be weeks, it could be days. They could even be talking about years, okay? All of those are just different units when they're talking about the x, that variable, okay? And then units for y, the key thing that they're going to be talking a lot about y is going to be dollar bills, y'all, or money, okay? However you want to describe it, and other things that depend on x. So things that depend on whatever our x was. And those are special cases. And we'll go through those. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So example number 1, Zoe has a starting balance, that sounds pretty important, starting balance of $100. Sorry, that's orange. I don't like the color orange. In her savings account, she saves $50 each, ooh, that's a keyword, month, which she makes by babysitting her neighbor's kids. Let x, so this is where they're telling us something, okay? X represents the number of months and y represents the total balance in her bank account, okay? So I kind of like to rewrite that down. So x equals the months and y equals the total balance, okay? And total balance, we're talking about, yes, in her bank account, they're talking about money. So write a slope-intercept equation to model the situation. Well, they told us two numbers. They told us 100 and 50. So when they tell us two numbers, that means they told me the slope and they told me the y-intercept, okay? So we know that the starting balance is our y-intercept because that's what we talked about in our vocabulary, okay? The starting amount. So that's our y-intercept. And the word each is a word that means slope. So the number in front of each is 50. Now to write that, we're going into slope-intercept, which once again is y equals mx plus b, in case you forgot that. All right, so my equation is y equals 50x plus 100. All right, b. What does the y-intercept of the equation represents in terms of the situation? Well, once again, the y-intercept was 0, 100. Well, it said that Zoe has a starting balance of 100 in her savings account. So isn't that what it's talking about? Yeah, so we would just say that the y-intercept, yes, we're making you write a sentence. So the y-intercept represents Zoe's starting balance of $100. All right, C. How much money will she have in her account after 4 months? So how much money will she have in her account after 4 months? So did they tell me the month or did they tell me the total? 4 months, that's time. So they told me the X, so we have to find the total. Okay, so when we plug this in, we would say that y equals 50 times X plus 100. So all I'm doing is plugging into the equation, and now we're going to simplify. Okay, so y equals 50 times 4, which is 200, and 200 plus 100 gives us a balance, a total of $300. All right, after how many months, so after how many months will she have $50 in her account, assuming she saves all of her money? So did they tell me the months or did they tell me the total? Yeah, they said, hey, she's got 500. How long is that going to take? All right, so now I know the y, but I have to figure out, sorry, what was it? It was 50x. 50x plus 100. So now we have to solve. So when we solve, we follow the rules of SADMAP. So I'm going to subtract the 100. 500 minus 100 is 400. And then we need to divide both sides by 50. And 400 divided by 50, we get that 8 equals x. And we just have to make sure to label our answer. No naked numbers, as Ms. Carranza has been saying. Okay? So the most important part is oh, there's my family. Yes, family is the most important part, but you need to go through and make sure to set up your equation correctly. Okay? So for number 2, see if you can pause the video. You can pause the video, but see if you can figure out what x is, what y is, and try the equation. Okay, but we'll go through it. Pause the video and good luck. Okay, so x equals weeks and y equals the total amount. Now, she received, so they gave us 2 numbers. So one was the slope and one is the y-intercept. She received a total of $245, so that's what she has. That's her starting amount. Okay, but then there's the word per, so it's 35, but she is doing what with that money? She's spending it. So that means it's negative 35. So y equals negative 35x plus 245. So what this equation is, it's kind of how quickly is Guadalupe going to blow through her birthday money. So what does the y-intercept of the equation represent in terms of the situation? Well, we just said that the y-intercept was 245. Okay, so what does the y-intercept mean in this equation? So it represents how much money, who are we talking about? Yeah, we're talking about Guadalupe. So how much money Guadalupe, what happened to her? Yeah, she received on her birthday. And you can say that it was $245. Okay? Okay. So, C, how much money will she have in her account after 4 weeks? Did they tell us the X or did they tell us the Y? Well, how much money? Money is the Y, so that means the X is the 4. So when we plug this into our equation, the Y equals negative 35 times X plus 245. When I plug in that 4, this is where we simplify. Okay? So y equals negative 35 times 4. What'd you get? Yeah, you should have gotten negative 140. So negative 140 plus 245. And when we do that, we get 105. So after 4 weeks, she has $105 left. Okay. After how many weeks will she have $140? How many weeks? So they didn't tell me the X, but they told me the amount. Okay, so we're using our equation again. 140 equals negative 35x plus 245. So what do we do here? We have to solve. Okay, so subtract 245 to both sides. 140 minus 245. What'd you get? No, you tell me. Seriously, you're going to make me take out my calculator? Come on. You should know this, guys. So we're taking 140 minus 245. We just got to watch our signs, and it's negative 105. And then to get the x by itself, I'm sorry, we divide by negative 35, and you get, good, we get 3. So just remember that we have to label our answer. So that's 3 weeks. Okay, let's go ahead and flip it over. Okay, a rental car company charges a flat fee. Ooh, flat fee. That was one of our words, right? Yeah, flat fee of $45 to rent a car, plus a charge of 12 cents per mile. Let X represent the number, sorry, X represent the number of miles and Y represent the total cost. Okay, so X equals miles, Y equals the cost. What do the variables represent, Mr. Grice? Come on. So those are what the variables represent. And now it's asking for slope intercept. So they told us both of those. We need to know the slope and the y-intercept. So remember, flat phi is talking about our y-intercept, so that's the 45, and then per, so they're charging 12 cents per mile. So that means 0.12. Okay? So our equation, y equals 0.12x, you could put 0.12x, it's the same thing, plus the 45. What do the slope and y-intercept represent? Well, what's the slope? The slope is 0.12 and it's 0.12 per mile. So the slope that represents how much the rental car company, that's how much they charge per mile you drive on the car, okay? And the y-intercept is the flat fee, okay? So you have to pay $45 for the car, but then you pay 12 cents per mile that you put on it, okay? So for D, how much would Erica have to pay if she rents and drives the car for 500 miles? Did they tell X or did they tell us the Y? Good, they told us the X because that's the miles. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to go ahead and figure out how much does Erica have to pay. Go ahead and pause the video and good luck. Okay, so if Erica is driving that car for 500 miles, she's going to be paying a total of $105 for that car. E, if Erica had been charged a total of $96, how many miles would she have driven? So right there, that how many miles told me I don't know what the miles are. I just know what the total is, okay? So that's 96 equals the 0.12x plus 45, and this is where we solve, okay? So go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, so you should have gotten 425 for x, and remember we have to label it. So that's 425 miles. All right. So John pays a flat fee on his cell phone bill. His cell phone company gives him a limited number of texts, but if he exceeds the text limit, he has to pay 10 cents for each additional minute. Okay, so you have to tell me what is the X and what is the Y, because they don't tell me. Okay, so just remember that, well, they don't tell us. It's not time this time. It's not time this time. Funny. The two things they're talking about is the total cost of the bill and how many texts. So we normally know that Y is money, so this is our total or our bill, and X, the thing that changes per month, is going to be the texts. Okay, so write a slope-intercept equation. The flat fee, how much his bill costs, that was what? Sorry, I got to go back up, 48. So 0, 48. and it was 10 cents for each. So we're going to plug that into y equals mx plus b, and there we go. What do the slope and y-intercept represent in the terms of the situation? I don't know. Why don't you tell me? No, seriously, tell me. We'll pause the video, figure it out. Okay, so the slope represents how much John pays for each text. He goes over, so he has to pay 10 cents for every text when he goes over the limit. I know he doesn't have unlimited text. And the y-intercept is the flat fee he pays for not going over. So if he stays within this limit, he's always paying $48 a month. Okay? Now, D and E, you guys are going to do on your own. Okay? So go ahead and pause the video, and you're doing both of those on your own. Good luck. Okay, so there's all my work. For D, the total cost would have been $68, and E, we found out that he sent 320 texts. Now, if you need help on this, or if you still don't understand, please come find Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Your homework for this evening is going to be 3.6 practice. Okay, so come see us if you need help. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra Unit 3.6 Notes, Day 1. Thanks for watching.